It all began in 1608 when King James I granted a royal license for making whiskey to Sir Thomas Phillips, governor of the county of Antrim, home to Bushmills. Depending on whom you talk to, Bushmills may be the world's oldest whiskey distillery. You could say they've been distilling whiskey for over 400 years. It was in 1784 that Hugh Anderson officially registered the Bushmills Company and pot still logo. In 1860, Belfast spirit merchants James McCulgan and Patrick Corrigan purchased the distillery, but a fire in 1885 destroyed most of Bushmills' original buildings. The distillery was quickly rebuilt and went on to win the only gold medal awarded for whiskey at the 1889 Paris exhibition. As the distillery was still winning numerous medals, the company decided to launch their own steamship, the SS Bushmills, and introduce their whiskey around the world. Both the Irish and Scottish distilleries suffered dearly when losing their American market for the 14 years of Prohibition. It was a welcoming ending, but the economy still hadn't recovered from the Depression. During World War II, Bushmills' Belfast headquarters was destroyed in a German bombing raid. After the Second World War, the distillery was bought by the Scottish businessman and philanthropist Isaac Wolsonen. In 1966, 3 of the 4 remaining Irish distilleries, Jameson's, Powers, and Cork Distillery, formed Irish Distillers Company. By 1972, Bushmills, the last independent Irish distillery, became part of Irish Distillers. In June 1988, Irish Distillers was purchased by Pernod Ricard. Their competitor Diageo purchased Bushmills in June 2005 for £200 million. In May 2008, the Bank of Ireland issued a series of sterling banknotes in Northern Ireland featuring an illustration of the old Bushmills distillery. The confusing ownership of Bushmills was not over yet. In November 2014, Diageo traded Bushmills to Proximo Spirits in exchange for 50% of Don Julio branded tequila. But the biggest changes for Bushmills were yet to come. In April 2023, Bushmills opened its second distillery, the Causeway Distillery, getting its name from the stunning basalt rock formations of the Giant's Causeway in close proximity to the old and the new distilleries. This £37 million state-of-the-art facility is part of their new American owner, Proximo's £60 million investment into Bushmills. It was not only important to enter the green technology age, but also to have a safe and healthy work environment for their employees. This was important in their design, and still keeping the quality and integrity of their whiskey, as well as more demands on their production. Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And what do we got here tonight? Well, we're going back to Ireland. And we're going to go back to Northern Ireland to Bushmills. Now, I have done a review on the Irish whiskies. I did the Irish whiskey boom. And I have done, several of the distilleries in Ireland, including Bushmills. And what we're looking at here is a 12-year-old single malt. And of course, Bushmills is noted for their malted, they're using malted barley exclusively. They have always used malted barley. You're wondering, what's that extra glass? That is the 10-year-old. So I felt that after we finish, we get through the review here, what we'll do is we're actually going to compare the 10 with the 12. The 12 is a fairly new release. What is Bushmills' fame? It's an old distillery. In fact, they have 1608. It's on the top of the cork, and it's actually embossed in this new style bottle. And this is actually quite a heavy bottle. It's their newer design. There's quite a few new things going on with this old distillery. What is unique about this here again is that we're getting into the single malt versus what we're familiar with is, you know, a triple distilled whiskey that might have malted barley, but it can also have a mix of other grains in it. And in this case here, we're dealing with an actual single malt. So how is it finished, or how is it matured? It is matured similar to the 10 in both a bourbon and also in Oloroso. So the 10, I believe, was just, you know, the full length of time. In half it was in, I believe, Oloroso, and the other half was in bourbon, and they married the two casks together. In this case, what we're doing is we're doing 11 years in bourbon, and the other casks were 11 years in Oloroso. Then they marry them together, and they finish off in a Marcello cask, which of course is a wine, a fortified wine from Sicily, and it's similar to Madeira. And so they've done a few finishes like that. I think the 16 was finished in port. I babbled enough. Let's open up this bottle, and that's what we're here for. Let's just see what it's all about. That's what I like to hear. That's quite the cork. Small cork, but it's got a big head on it. There's the 1608. Anyways, let's give this a pour. By the way, I'm going to show you the color of these two whiskeys here, okay? You can judge yourself which is the darker. Pot still there is pretty impressive, and of course the 1608, you know, King James granting them the license, etc., etc. But it's a new look, and it's a heavy bottle. It's kind of like Johnny Walker, you know. As you move up in price, the bottles get heavier. Anyways, it's priced quite reasonable. I think I paid $70. Maybe just right under 70 for that, so in Canada, so it was actually a very, very good price on it there. Anyways, let's give this guy the nose. So we're getting apple, peaches, bit of vanilla, getting some tree fruit. Maybe I'm getting some. It's almost a Cheerios smell, like you know, the honey nut Cheerios. You ever stick your nose in the box there of honey nut Cheerios? A bit of granola there. Yeah, so a bit of nuttiness to it, but so we're getting a bit of the grape smell to it, and a bit of spices now. Getting some baking spices. It's actually a really nice nose. And I'm getting some of the tropical fruit now. Yeah, like pineapple. And I am going to go for the palate. Sláinte. Toffee and spicy toffee. Now I'm getting prunes, figs, big Newtons maybe, date squares, spicy date squares, bit of pepper and nutmeg. And that's the darker pepper. And maybe even some cinnamon going on here. And I'm getting a little bit of licorice, but it's more the red licorice. Yeah, definitely red licorice, maybe strawberry licorice. And I'm going to stay with the Cheerios. I'm not going to say honey nut. I'm going to say honey and Cheerios. Honey, milk, and Cheerios. With a bit of that spice thrown in. But yeah, some almond stuff going on. It's definitely got a nice coating on the mouth. Let's go for the development and the finish. Sláinte. Boy, you really you really taste the Oloroso, and it might be overpowering, and I'm not getting as much of the Marcella cask. I think I'm getting more of the Oloroso, because I have had Marcella Finish before. It might be there. I think it's let's just give it a little time here and see what happens. Now, this isn't going to be a long finish. Remember, this is a 48 EV. It's a little on the short side, but it's certainly longer than, let's say, the Black Bush or the 10 that well, we're going to find out if it's longer than the 10, but I think we'll leave that one open. Let's not jump let's not jump conclusions here, but it is we'll say shorter side of medium. How's that sound? The malty notes are swinging toward the wood now. I'm getting a bit of the wood. Very slight astringency. I'm going to stay with the strawberry licorice, but maybe we're now getting a wee bit of that black licorice. That could be charred barrels or whatever. Going to say that it's not a super dry, and it's not really moist. It's somewhere in between. But it does give you that typical coating on your mouth you get from a sherry finished whiskey. Peaches, apricots, with the with the tree fruits, and that you're getting the I'd say prunes. And now we're going into the darker dry fruits. We're getting the we're back to the fig squares. We're wandering around a bit here. So should I add water? We've done the 12, the 10. Oh, a lot more vanilla, peaches, apples, pears, vanilla again, and sweet, fragrant, cologne. Okay, the palate of the 10. Definitely not as spicy as this. I'm getting a lot more, like I say, when I talk about the vanilla and I would say apple. Maybe a little bit of the apple turnover. I would even say maybe a little bit of lemon custard. Lemon meringue pie. It's kind of like a dessert. Definitely quite a contrast between these two. I don't know if it's the extra 2 years or if it's just the type of cask you use, but this is a smoothie. This is too smooth. It could go. This can be dangerous. Let's go for the development and finish. There's definitely not as much here as there is here. Again, it's a very this is traditional Irish whiskey, very smooth, almost like a Japanese whiskey, delicate. It's like a dessert, but it's not amped up like this. This is amplified. I'm not getting all those spicy notes. I'm not getting as much of the dark fruits that I got in the 12. The 10 is more of a bourbon-driven whiskey, even though I know there is the Oloroso mixed in with it. But the Oloroso casks are not as strong here as they are in the 12. No taste of oak here, as I was getting a little bit of the oak in here. The 10 is definitely, like for a newbie, this is a great whiskey, the 10, to start off with. If you're new into the scotches and the single malts and you want to wander over into Irish whiskey, I recommend the Bushmills 10. It's a very smooth, that or you'd like the Black Bush as well. But short finish. Definitely not as long as this, the 12. So, but still a really nice drink. Like I say, this could be dangerous. You left a bottle of this with a bunch of guys there. I could see it going pretty fast. So, anyways, that is the 10. As you know, comparing it to the 12, and much lighter. Very no real sharp notes to it. More bourbon driven. This is more sherry driven. Much more spicy. So. We're now going to add water to this. And by the way, I would be reluctant to add water to that, but I think we'll get away with adding water to this. It does have a little more color to it. It's just a little heavier body, that's all. So I'm not condemning the 10. The 10's a great whiskey, but just a few drops there. It's, I think, a great starting whiskey. It'd be great whiskey for somebody that is exploring Irish whiskeys, and you're starting off. It's a great one to start on. Is the Bushmills 10. It's a very well made whiskey. It's tasty. It just isn't what this is. It doesn't have the body of this. It doesn't have the layers of this. It's not as spicy as this. It doesn't coat your mouth like the 12. Okay. So, anyways, with water. Give it the old swirl. So we're talking about cologne over here, and I'm getting a bit of cologne here. Well, but I am now getting the it's like blossoms, cherry blossoms. You get in the spring. And I am getting the tropical stuff again. And we are getting the pears and the apricots. Very fragrant. The water really brought out the lot of the flower garden. Lavender. I can get a little bit of cinnamon, ginger in the background there. Anyways, with water, the palate. This is the 12. It's really brought out the Christmas cake. And it's kind of lightened up the pepper a bit there. I mean, it's still spicy, but the pepper isn't quite as sharp. You're definitely getting the cinnamon. Vanilla is kind of in the background. It's not really, there's not much there, but Fig Newtons are still happening, and I'm going to say we're still getting the malt notes. This astringency has kind of disappeared for now. Sweet, much sweeter now. I'm going to top that one off. A couple of drops of water, and it does bring it over closer to that, but it's not there yet. And I mean, it was more than a couple. I probably put 4 or 5 drops of water at least into it, but it's still got the spices, and it's still got the dark fruits. But I'm not getting the astringency of the wood. And it seems to be a fine line between when you add water, you could actually bring the astringency back and actually make it where it dominates the drink. So you have to watch that. But I think I got it right. So a 40 ABV with a few drops. The 12 actually didn't seem to hurt it. I mean, it did take away a bit of that, a bit of the spice, and there's probably going to be times when I wouldn't want to add water to this. We're playing around right now. We're trying to figure this one out. So water seems to be okay, but that's going to be a personal thing. I wouldn't overdo it with the water. If you are adding water to this, just a couple of drops. I did four drops. You don't need 4 drops in it probably, but maybe you do. But it didn't hurt it. Overall, it's for the price. This is a no-brainer for the price. We're going to hear this from every reviewer. Why don't they make it, 46 ABV, or bring it up at least at 43 ABV? We're going to hear that from every reviewer. We're going to hear that as the #1 complaint. So how about I keep my mouth shut and we'll talk about the positives, okay? For a 40 ABV, it's a pretty good whiskey. For the price, it's a pretty good whiskey. And I'm going to give it somewhere 83, 84. That's where I'm going to put it. It's I think a fair whiskey mark for the price, under $70 in Canada. So, on that note, I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, Sláinte.